I have with me two aviation entrepreneurs, Faith Drewry and Lacey Smith, owners of the newly established FL Aviation Center at the Tallahassee Regional Airport in Florida. Thank you both for taking the time out of your busy schedules to talk with me.
Thank you for the opportunity, Dave. We enjoy speaking with you.
Well, thank you very much. So now tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you became interested in flying. Faith, you go first.
Well, Dave, I'm from Pennsylvania originally, and I don't ever remember not wanting to be a pilot. I grew up fairly close to Lock Haven, the home of the Piper Cub. My aunt and her husband are both pilots, and although they didn't live very close to me, they took me up at every opportunity, and they took me to Oshkosh when I was 16. So flying never occurred to me as being something special. It was just something that I was supposed to do. I earned my private license when I was 22, living in New York City, and I've been flying ever since.
And how about you, Lacey?
Well, I'm originally from southern Iowa, and I moved down to Tallahassee to escape the cold weather, and I started flying with my other business, and I thought that it would be useful in my business if I had my license. And once I started learning, I realized that I just loved it, and I have been a pilot now for about 2.5 years, and I have my private pilot license. I'm working on getting the rest of them as we go along, and it's been fabulous because the general aviation community is just a wonderful community to be part of, and I just love that.
It really is a wonderful community. I'm with you on that 100%. So now tell me, starting a new business is not for the faint of heart. What made you both decide to start an aviation center together?
Well, Dave, interestingly, what Lacey just spoke about community was a big driver for us. We both moved to Tallahassee about the same time, and we met fairly quickly because we were the only women pilots in the area that we had found. And we were both searching for that sense of community. Lacey was still working on her private license, and I had just moved here, and I couldn't find anyone to fly with. So we quickly became friends, and we were struck by how much having that community of support helped to keep people encouraged, keep people engaged, and most importantly, keep people flying. And we really wanted to build a place where we could nurture that aviation community in Tallahassee and help pilots to find each other, support each other, and participate in ongoing education opportunities, because pilots who fly more frequently are safer pilots and engaged pilots, and we want to keep the general aviation community strong.
Well, that's terrific. Now, opening a business at the airport is not as simple as opening one in downtown Tallahassee, because as you know, there are aviation regulations that you have to meet, and specifically aviation security regulations. What are the aviation security issues that you deal with on a daily basis with your company?
Well, I think probably the biggest issue is just everyone at the Tallahassee airport has to have an airport badge, and it's a little bit of a process to get the badge with background checks and everything, so all of the students have to go through that process in order to be allowed out on the ramp here. And as far as general aviation goes, we're all part of the TSA, basically, and it's everyone's responsibility to maintain the safety of the airport. So you kind of keep track of what's going on at your airport, and you get to know the routine of things, so that in that sense you can help with the security at the airport. The badging process is only a part of the daily security that goes on here, but I think that's probably the biggest issue in that sense.
Well, now, I'm sure that each of you have learned a lot about opening up a flying business since you started back in June of this year. Is there any piece of advice that you'd like to share with those listening who may be considering starting their own aviation businesses?
My biggest piece of advice when I think about that is don't cut any corners. Don't think that there are any shortcuts to opening a business, because if you find a something that looks like a shortcut, it will cause 10 times the effort as just doing it properly to start with. There are so many regulations, so many local policies and procedures. You really need to do your research and make sure that you understand all of the aspects of what you're getting into, and understand that you can't run before you can walk. You have to go through the steps in order, and don't take any shortcuts.
Okay, so no shortcuts. Lacey, what do you think?
I think one of the things with aviation in particular is it's always safety first, and everything that you do in the business has to be geared towards the safest practices and installing that in everyone, and really paying close attention to those things. And as Faith was saying, there's no shortcuts there either, and you just have to make sure that you're paying attention and always on guard for things that could potentially be a problem later on.
What great pieces of advice. Well, Lacey and Faith, I wish you both the best of success with your FL Aviation Center, and thanks for talking with me.
Thank you for having us today.